First thing you're going to do is draw a text box on the side that will list all of the articles that are in this current issue. So you click Insert, Text Box. Then you drag it to the side, and from the corners make it longer or shorter. Click back on Drawing Tools again so that you can add a color to it. You're going to go up to Shape Fill. A drop-down menu comes out, and you can kind of play around and see what colors you want. Just take your time. Try to remember what the overview, the kind of theme for this issue is going to be, and you'll know better how to choose what color you want to use in your sidebar that lists all the articles. If you can see, I didn't like the colors that were there, so I want to choose some kind of different color. There's a custom tab, another Pantone. I'm not really sure what that is. I don't use that too much. But here I've chosen the green. And there it is. Now I want an outline to make that sidebar stand out. I want you to know what's in this issue. Click the drop down, play around with it, and find the color that you want. Some colors look better than others, and surprisingly, other colors really make them stand out that you wouldn't imagine. So here I'm still choosing a color. I'm going to go with the middle gray on the far left. Now I can change the thickness of the outline. Use the drop down again and follow it all the way down to the weight section. I can make it very small, or I can make it very large. You can see it on the side as I move my cursor over the different lines and their thicknesses. I chose the 2 1/4 for this one. And there you have it. Click inside the text box. It's hard to see the cursor right now, but it's in there. What you want to do is center it. And you want your font style to be the same throughout the entire newsletter. I prefer Times New Roman. You may have a different preference, but that's what I normally use, is Times New Roman. It's easy to read, and I think it looks better. But you may have other ideas. Now, to make in this issue those words stand out, I'm going to bold it. And choose the same color that's, let's see here. Maybe I want a different color. I'm going to choose the same color I used for the outline of the text box. So I'm going to type in this issue. Okay. I'm going to go down a couple of spaces, and I'll get back to that next, because I don't know all the articles that I'm going to put in yet. As you can see from this, I hadn't copied all of my 15 pages yet, so I moved the sidebar off the page so that I can make my duplicate pages. And it will look like I'm really going fast here, but what I'm doing is duplicating 15 pages. It's much easier to do it now, like I told you before, than to try to recreate exactly where it is position-wise. That way, when people are scrolling through your newsletter, the header doesn't seem to jump around because it's in the same position for all pages. Okay, let's check to make sure Yes, all the headers are there. Okay, let's move back up because we want to get on the right page. We don't want our sidebar to be on page 16. Let's go back up to page 1. Move our sidebar back. Put it in position. You can make yours thinner or wider, whatever you prefer. I like it kind of like this underneath the logo because it makes it look like a candlestick. And then the logo like a candle. Now I'm going to enter a text box, and you'll see I'm going to delete that. I need a picture to set the theme. I can use pictures from my computer or online pictures, which I prefer. And by clicking online pictures, it'll take you right to office.com clip art. What kind of pictures do I want to put in? What is my theme? Since it's January, we want to set the tone for the whole year. We want to get new ideas for the new year. I like that golden egg, but I see one I like better. I'll come back up to that in a moment. Let me show you all the different pictures. You can do so much with these pictures. I'll have a separate recording for how to work with pictures because sometimes they can be tricky. But for now, we'll go ahead and insert a picture. If I want to see the picture more up close so that I can really see if there's some small detail, I can click on the magnifying glass. I want vision. I'm going to insert it. There it is. Sure is large. Remember to drag from the side, otherwise your picture will it won't stay like it should. You'll alter the picture image. So drag from the side, the little circles rather than the squares in the middle and on the side. We're going to drag it into position. You click on Picture Tools above. That's where you'll get all of your options for working with pictures. We want to put a caption in. That sets the tone or the theme for the whole newsletter. I like using the ones down at the bottom that go off to the side, the caption to the side. Ooh, I don't like that color. I don't want all green because I've already got enough green, so I'm going to search for a different color. The color is not a text box, it's a drawing tool. Okay, so let's find a color to put in here. Okay, I'm going to play around with some colors. Your text box, your caption box goes along with your picture. So in order to make your caption box larger, you have to enlarge the picture. That's just a little hint there. I want to do a contrast color to break up the green on each side of this picture. So I'm just playing around here for a second to try to figure out which color I want that will help it to stand out. I didn't like that one. That one's kind of pale. I want a custom color because I just was not finding what I wanted. When I click anywhere in this color scheme, it'll show up right down there in the far right hand corner. That one's interesting, but I like this one. I think it'll offset the two greens, put enough space between them. Now I want to highlight and delete those words picture caption. I want to put my own in. What do I want to put in there though? Remember to keep the same font, Times New Roman, and it should appear at the very top. You'll just have to scroll back up, and there it should be. Now this caption box is very small, so in Publisher you can go down to a size 4 font. In Word it goes down only to 8, but in Publisher it goes to 4. My words have to stand out, so I chose white. I still don't know what I want to put in here though. Where do I find that? I like to use thinkexist.com. ThinkExist always has some really, really interesting captions, catchphrases. I always want to be sure though to cite my reference, the one who actually said this quote that I'm going to put in here. ThinkExist I use so often, I have on my quick toolbar. Okay, I need to choose a topic. There I'm showing you thinkexist.com. I want a topic. I want everything to be in harmony, so I had that picture of vision, so I want a quote about vision. That's what we want for this new year. When I scroll, the screen doesn't necessarily show up, but I will stop it when I've come to the one that I want. It can't be one that's very large in size because it won't fit in the little caption box. But I want it to be interesting and say what I want to share with the readers. Let's see here. I normally go through a couple of pages to see if the one I've found is good enough or if there might be a better one, but I think I like this one here. You start with a vision and it manifests in its own interesting fashion. It'll get still here in a minute. Then what I'm going to do is highlight it, as you can see there, copy it, and I have to remember to come back and get Lois Trombley as the author. Now I'll go back to the page, my publisher page, and I'm going to click inside the caption box and paste it. Ooh, but I can't see it very well. I need to redo the font color. So I highlight it. It's already on the Home tab, and the white is already there, so I just click on it. But I don't think it got the whole thing in there. The whole quote does not read, so I've got to make the picture bigger. Remember, the picture determines the size of the caption box. And it's still not going to fit, so I've got to make the picture larger. Remember to drag from the corners. I had some trouble making the caption box bigger on this one, so I'll make the picture bigger. Okay, still not bigger. I don't want to drag the squares because they will alter my picture there. Sometimes you have to, though, to fit everything in. Now I'm going to go back and get the name of the author. The screen switched on me, so you can't see me copying and pasting the author's name. But when I come back, it will paste inside this caption box. choose Copy. Then go back to your publisher page. Right-click and paste. And there, the font is that gray color again. We're going to have to make that font white again so that it stands out. Okay. I want the name of the author for this quote to be on a separate line. Sometimes I make the name of the author smaller. Sometimes I italicize it. You can play around with it. You notice how the picture has pointed corners. It's not very appealing to the eye. Go back up to Picture Tools, and in the Picture Styles, find the one that you want. Play around with it, see what you like. I like the one that has soft edges because it doesn't draw too much attention to the frame, but rather the picture. Draw a text box. You have to put in the volume, the issue, the name of the newsletter. What month is it for? People need to know that. They like to keep things in order. Let's center it. So go back to the Home tab. Click the center. Remember to keep Times New Roman if that's the one that you've chosen. Keep it throughout your whole document. You want things to stay in sync. Bold it. Choose the same color you had in your text box in this issue text box. Keep everything fluent. 20 is what I normally do for headers. Sometimes they fit in these extra parts, sometimes they don't. We'll see if it does. Oh, when the red circles light up, that means it did not fit. So we can stretch it so that we can highlight it and see which font size we really need. The blue line that you see on the publisher page is just a guide. It doesn't show up in printing or in the PDF once you publish it. So let's highlight that and play around with it and see what looks good. Do we want an 18? That's right on the line. That might work. 16? It might work. We don't want to get too small. We'll go with 16. Let's move it over. And now we're going to change our font from bold to regular. So we just click on the bold and it unbolds. We need a volume and an issue. You can see I put issue first, so I'm going to erase that and put the volume number of this newsletter and the issue number. Since this is January, it's issue 1, the first issue of the year. Okay, so we have that done. Now we have to make text boxes for our articles on the first page. So insert, text box, drag it off to the side. The red lines that you see are alignment guides for you so that you can keep everything even and level. I don't like the text box too close to the picture bottom. Sometimes I drag it. I'll drag it down a little bit. Remember that the titles of your articles are all going to be 20, other than this January 2014 above. They'll be 20 so that they stand out away from the text. So you're going to bold, keep Times New Roman, keep the color of the outline of your sidebar in this issue text box. That way nothing's competing. Message from the President. That's a little long. Brevity is a good thing. I think President's message is much better than message from the President. There we go. Let's change by unbolding. Keep Times New Roman. We want to go to its size 12 font. We want to change our color to black, which is the default color. I do that before I move on to the next line. That way the space in between isn't set at 20 for a 20 font. Hello, members. And I typed in here blah, 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 whatever else you want to put in there. And there you have your first article. Click out of that. Go back up, draw another text box. And I don't like for the pages to be boring, so sometimes I will put one on the half page like this, only taking up half the page underneath the President's message. Drag it by the corners. Mind your red line, so keep everything aligned. Go back up, bold. Keep your same style with Times New Roman. And remember, it's a new article with a new header. It'll be a size 20. Excuse me. Go from your default black back to the color that you have around your text box. Oops. Editor's message. Go back and unbold. Recolor to the same default. Size 12. And then click to start your new line. That way everything stays fluent. What a fantastic year we had, members. Well, that sounds like the President's message. Let's erase that. Let's be original. What a fantastic year we had here with a Golden Scholar. That's something an editor would say. Let's italicize Golden Scholar because it's a periodical. Comes out monthly. I don't want to keep that italicized. So forth and so on, I put. So let's highlight that. Take off the italics. Okay. Sometimes I use that box that appears whenever I highlight something. Sometimes I just go back up to the top. Now, I need to insert another text box. Drag that over until I come to the red line. The red line will guide me from above and below. And I need another header. So I go up and I bold it. First, I want to put in a picture, though. I don't like to have too many pictures on the front page because I don't want any pictures to draw attention away from the normal theme that I've set, like vision for this one. So let's find some picture to put in that's not going to compete with the main picture on the front page. Too many times we're excited and we want to share so much, but we end up taking away from the theme by distracting people with too many graphics. And I normally don't use drawn clip art in the newsletter. I think it's not as professional as actual picture type photos. If I want to work with a picture, I click on the Picture Tools tab. This one will flip it around for me. I didn't like it going in the other direction. It needs to go toward the center of the page, not away from. I need to make it smaller. I drag from the corner. place it on the page. I think that's really cute there, because we're going to look at this next article. It's a header. We're going to go up and bold it. We'll stay with Times New Roman. There it is at the top. Sometimes we have to scroll back up to find it. But at least we don't have to go all the way down to the T's. It'll be a 20. And we need to stay with the same color for headers. Same one that's around in this issue text box. Well, since vision is our theme, we need to find out what it is. What is vision? Uh-oh. That doesn't look too good. Let's make that picture smaller. There it is. That looks a whole lot better. What is vision? Okay. We're going to change the size of our font, take the bolding off, change the color back to the default, and then we're going to start typing. While vision may mean several different or several things to different people, what it means to Golden Key is ... whatever you choose to put in there. I want this text box to stand out, to kind of level the left from the right, so I want to put an outline around it. Use the drop down, and you can see the recent colors there that I've used. I want to use the same one I used for the in this issue text box. I want to balance the page out, and there it is. Uh-oh, the picture's covering up my line around the text box. What do I do about that? Well, I click on that, and in the picture tools, when I click the tab, I can send it to the very back. Send backwards, send to back. There it is. Now it doesn't get in the way of my text box outline. But I like that little guy, so I want it to be a little bit bigger. And I don't necessarily like the line covering him up. I'm going to work with this for a moment. I'm going to move the text box over just a little so I can get to the picture, because sometimes it won't let me alter the picture with the text box in the way. I'm going to drag it out from the corner, make him a little bit bigger. Move him over. Now move my text box back. I really want vision to stand out, so we're going to put the magnifying glass over it. We're going to give a look at it. What is vision? That's not where I want it. Let me move the text box back over a little. Click on my little guy and move him back over to the right. Click on my text box and move it back over. Is it where I want it? Yes, that's where I want it. But now my words are covering my little man. So I'm going to click on the text and move it down by clicking enter. There, that looks a little better. When the page is at 100%, you'll be able to see the little guy a little better. Oh, but my magnifying glass is right on the line with my text box outline. So I'm going to move it up. No, let's move him down. That looks better. Now we can move our text box over. Let's move it up just a little. Oh, there's enough there. I think I want the outline to be a little bit thicker. So I go up to the drawing tools with the drop down, And I'm going to go back to weight. I want the weight of the line to be a little thicker. That's too thick. That's the one I want, isn't it? No, I'll go with 3. So there we have it. For some reason, I'm still not satisfied with the line going over this little man. But for this picture, it just is not going to let the little guy come forward. And I'll show you why in another recording, working with pictures. The particular reason why I can tell you now is because the white in the picture of the little man is seen as a background, and so when I bring him forward, the white in his background comes forward. But later in a separate recording, I'll show you how to work with photos to take even the white background out, so that all you have is the little guy floating around. All these things I learned by just playing around with Publisher. I was not formally trained, and it really was a headache at times, so that's why I'm doing this for you. It'll save a lot of time. Click Save. You're going to save it to the computer, to My Documents. This frame is a little slow loading. Now name it. Make it an easy name that you can find. It automatically says Publisher Files. And that's okay. For now, you're still publishing. Click Save. Okay, it'll take you back to your page. Let's move down here. Normally, you'll start a few pages from the end for your references when you have a large newsletter. Click Insert Text Box, or Insert Draw Text Box, and you're going to stretch a large one out because references will cover a whole page. There won't be anything competing with your references on this page. Go home, center the word references. Remember to keep with Times New Roman if that's what you've chosen. It's a header, so go with the 20. Bold it. Choose the right color, the ones that's around your in this issue text box, and you bold it and put your references. Unbold, go back to 12, hit the return key or enter key after you've changed your color back to default. Make it left. Hit that little arrow on the paragraph section because your references will be a hanging indent. Let's just play around with these tabs. See what's on them. Indents is what you want. Under the indentation section, you don't want everything flush left. You want a hanging indent for references. Click OK. You've already set up your font style for your references page, and it's already indented for when you enter your references. Always be sure to enter references for pictures, like the ones that we inserted on the front page. Those will be in your references. You also need to insert text boxes to add to these pictures on the front page. For time's sake, I didn't do that on this page, but you always do need to do that. We're inserting a page number. Insert all the way over to the far right, page number. Current position, no, not current position, I'm sorry. Bottom right is where I like mine. Let's go all the way down to the last page and make sure that it has a page number. It does. Page 16. You can move your pages up and down from the left sidebar by just putting your cursor over it, clicking your left button, and just dragging it up. It's easier to drag it up than it is to drag it down. Okay, there's our front page. Now we have a few articles on the front page. So let's go ahead and put some articles in. Home. We want it to be on the left. It doesn't matter if this text box is all bold because we want it to stand out. I alphabetize the articles on the different pages in this text box except for page 1. I want the president's message to be the first article. All that is not going to fit on there with the page number, so I have to alter the font size. I'm going to go with a 10. We space over and put page 1. Uh-oh, too many spaces. Let's backspace a couple and then put 1. There it is. Let's go down a couple of spaces by hitting enter twice. And now we can put the editor's message. Page 1. And we have a new little article down here. Even though it's small, we still enter it. What is vision? Okay. We have 3 articles already. I don't like the looks of that. I want that to be justified, to be stretched out and even on both sides. That's the justify button. We justify that. And the author, I want to be to the far left. That's far left. Or I'm sorry, far right. And sometimes you can't put your cursor on the very first word in a sentence. It won't let you, so you just have to backspace and erase it and then just type it back in. Sometimes it's tricky. Sometimes it'll let you get away with it. Okay. There we have it. You'll continue on until you filled up all your pages. And I'll show you in the separate recording about staggering your articles so that the newsletter, being lengthy, doesn't get boring. You're going to save your file once you've finished it all. You checked your references and everything. You're going to save as computer my documents. Now this time it is a publisher file, but it's a PDF. Okay, it dropped down and I did choose PDF. It's in the middle part of all the choices. And then click Save. It goes back to your publisher page. Everything's in harmony. I'm not actually clicking on the publisher page. I was clicking on my PDF. I want to see what it looks like. I can click on that little mini page and it brings up all my pages in a sidebar. Of course, I don't have any content on these, but you will. That's where my reference page starts. You can put the word references on all your references pages, or just the beginning reference page. You click that little arrow and it shrinks the sidebar down. Positive will make it larger. That one makes it a full page so that you can see. Isn't that cute? I like that little guy. What is vision? You need a good one to start the new year. And there we have our our PDF. The newsletter is published. And now it can be taken to the Golden Key Classroom. You hit the email tab. Choose all classmates. Be sure to check BCC. That way you don't send out everybody's email addresses to everybody else and breach confidentiality. Always check the BCC box when you send your newsletter. And you'll get a newsletter as well from the classroom, so you can look it over. You may want to send yourself one first, and then go back in and send it to all the classmates. Also, I go back into the classroom and I go to the doc sharing tab and I upload new file. I hit the browse button. I find my PDF and I click OK. It uploads to the classroom, and then there's a yes and no button on the right hand side along the same line as my document. It will ask me to give a description of my document. It will already say, like for this one, January 2014 Golden Scholar Newsletter. You can put a different description in there, enjoy, or this one is really interesting, or whatever you want to put in there, and then click OK. But then when it uploads, it'll say it uploaded successfully if it did. There is a yes and no. If you click on the yes, it will share it. If you click on the no, it won't share. It won't be visible in the classroom doc sharing tab. So just check on that. Make sure that it is visible, because you can see it because you posted it, but others in the classroom cannot if it's not properly recorded or uploaded and tagged. That's all I have for now. Like I mentioned earlier, I'll record another session that shows you how to work with pictures. I hope you've enjoyed this. Have fun creating the new Golden Scholar newsletter. Bye-bye.